Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Show. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you. I live in Canada. I create content on my lifestyle living in Canada as a new immigrant, amongst other things. Please, as you're here, kindly subscribe. Press the red subscribe button down below and the notification bell beside it so you don't miss any video I post about my life in Canada. Welcome, beautiful people. So Canada is a very wonderful and glorious country. It has a lot of, it has had like a lot of influx, a lot of people coming in from different parts of the world. Canada has like an open hand towards immigration. It's a very liberal country. It's a multicultural society. So there are a lot of cultures and opportunities and everything you can think of in Canada. And Canada has been tagged as one of the second most peaceful country to live in the world. So you see why a lot of people are coming into Canada. It's Canada. Yeah, Canada. With all these things, Canada, and people are still living the same Canada that people are coming into. What is going on? So in this video, I'm here to let you know some of the things that make people, new immigrants, that have struggled, people that struggled to get PR, get work permit, also business visa, everything. You also to come into Canada, and in a few months, in a few years, you pack your bags and baggages and you leave Canada. So now let's discuss those reasons why people leave Canada as new immigrants. If you're interested in this kind of video, definitely keep on watching. So the first thing I would say is the reason why new immigrants leave Canada is because they don't get their desired jobs. Yeah, Canada is a very diverse society, but they are very big on Canadian experience. So as a new immigrant, it might be tough for you to land that your kind of job that you left in the country you're coming to Canada and land that job almost immediately, considering the fact that you don't even have a Canadian experience. You don't know the Canadian work culture and the environment. Aside that, another reason why it might be tough for you to get that desired job is if it is a licensed profession, like law. Let me let you know now that a lot of professions are licensed. A lot of pathways are licensed in Canada, like the regulated society. You would not think, but a lot of professions are regulated. So when somebody is coming from their country and coming to Canada and hoping that they would get that desired job that they were doing in their home country in Canada, and it doesn't seem like so, and then some people end up doing what we call minimum wage job, which is aka survival jobs. And someone that living comfortably wherever she's coming from, in respect in relation to job, and you're coming into Canada and you're doing like some jobs that as in they don't even fit into your goals, into your dreams, into your get, and it might be tough. It comes, especially in the workspace, in relation to getting a job, it comes tough for a lot of people. So that's one reason why people will leave Canada. From my country, I'm a bank manager, and I come here and I can't land myself a bank manager job, considering that I've been in the banking industry for like 20 years, and you come into Canada and you're maybe offered entry-level job in the bank, or maybe not even getting jobs in the bank. But the truth is, it's a journey. That's what a lot of people might not be able to understand or might not be able to cope with. It's a journey, and I've seen several people that will take up those kind of jobs that don't fit into their desired roles, and then in 3 to 4 years they grow into what they really want to be. So really, it's a frustrating journey for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have the patience. So People not being able to get their desired job is one of the reasons people pack their bags and baggages and go back to their own. Another reason why a lot of people leave Canada is the harsh weather. Canada is cold. I mean, if you are planning to come into Canada, do not underestimate the Canadian weather, because it will shock you. I mean, depending on the province you are in, depending on the territory you are in, weather go as low as -40, -45 during the winter period. And the I would say the toughest or like the coldest months of the year in the winter is between December to like February or March. So like, let's say 3-4 months, especially January, February, can be very tough on a lot of people. And I will tell you that the Canadian weather is very epileptic and can be very frustrating and depressing. So I've heard of seeing a lot of people that the weather depresses them. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing because of the way the weather is. I mean, it can get dark as at 4-5 p.m. and you know, some people cannot, their mental states cannot just take the fact that they are going into late night. I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of people go into depression during the winter period. As in, it's some people call it the sad months. Oh, we're going into the sad months, just because they cannot cope with it. So please do not underestimate the Canadian weather. But the nice thing about the Canadian weather, like people say it, the weather has not killed anybody before. As in, like, cold, if you dress well, the weather will not kill you. If you dress well, the key to surviving Canadian weather is dressing warm. So layering up is a thing for a lot of Canadians. So it's something you need to do. And the truth is, if you are not maybe entering bus or yeah, if you're not like entering bus or like being in the subway or the trains, you necessarily will not experience how bad the weather is, because a lot of places are insulated. I mean, your house is only when you're outside that you're cold. Your house is insulated, your offices are insulated, the car you're in is warm, the mall you're going to is warm. I mean, literally, like the buildings you're going in, even the bus is warm. It's just like the commute between maybe you're entering bus to a train or something. That's how tough it can. That's when it can be tough for those kind of people that don't drive. But generally, you're not going to be standing in the cold for long. So, but generally, Canada weather is very bad and can be very depressing. So that's another reason why people pack their bags and baggages and go back to their own country, because they cannot survive the Canadian weather. Another thing for a lot of people is they cannot start from scratch. A lot of people cannot just see themselves as people that are picking up their lives from the beginning and starting afresh. I mean, over my experience and hearing people's experiences, I know that that's one thing that is very difficult for a lot of people coming into Canada, or people that are considering coming into Canada. You hear, I cannot start all over again. I cannot start from scratch. I have suffered a lot. I have achieved this and this in my life. I cannot go back and start buying things from the scratch. A lot of people struggle with that. And I would say that if by any chance you land yourself in Canada, of course you're starting from the scratch, even if it is your company that transfers you into the country, like you get a transfer to another country based on like your job. You're also starting from the scratch. The only difference between you and the next person that is coming is that the person doesn't, you have a job and the person doesn't have a job, but generally you're starting from scratch. So what I would say is that give yourself some time, give like 6 months to 1 year, see how it goes. Do not put so much pressure on yourself of settling in like 1 month, 2 months. It's tough. Starting all over again is tough. Relocating to a new country is tough. And it comes with its own challenges. So you have to brace up to say, okay, I give myself a year, 2 years. Some people, it takes them 3 years to successfully settle into Canada. Some people, it takes them 2 months. Some people, it takes them 1 month. Everybody's journey is different, but I know that this is one reason why a lot of people cannot cope again in this country with the fact that they have to start from scratch and they've not gotten to where they've expected they expect themselves to be within a certain period of time. It's like, oh, I can't do this again, I'm going back to my country. You know, that's one of the reasons why people pack their bags and baggages and go back to their own country. Another thing is financial crisis. Canada is expensive. There is inflation in the world. So being able to not being able to land that desired job compared to where you're coming from, the comfort you were in, and then coming into a new country, it will definitely affect your finances. I mean, you're coming with your savings to come and start all over again, and you most definitely will not be able to compare the cost of living from where you're coming from to Canada. So it's going to be more expensive for you compared to what you have at hand. So you're going to be in some sort of financial crisis until you're able to balance off. And that's one thing that people cannot stand. I mean, it might be tough. Financially, it might be tough. Canada is not a get rich quick country. Pardon me. It's not a get rich quick country. I mean, a lot of people find it easy in their second month. A lot of people don't find it easy until their third year. So everybody's journey is different financially, and it affects some people more than it affects the others. So financial crisis is such a big deal, and reason why a lot of people go back to their own countries. Another reason why people pack their baggage, why immigrants pack their baggage, is that they get homesick. I mean, I would say Canada is kind of far. You will not even get, depending on which part of the world you're coming from. Where I'm coming from, my country, Nigeria, there is no direct flight into Canada. So you're going to be spending at least 24 hours airbound or 30 hours airbound, depending on the airline. Not necessarily airbound, but layover, or you're going to spend about 24 to 30 hours. That's far. So that's a very far journey to just pack your load and say, I'm going to Nigeria in 2 months. I want to come see my family in 3 months. Oh, I feel like eating amalabuka. Let me quickly buy ticket and go. Yeah, bloody joker, because ticket self is laughing at you. And in fact, aside the fact that ticket is even costly, you're going to be buying things for family and friends back in Nigeria. So homesick is one thing. I'm so homesick. I can't do it again. I'm too far away from family. Oh, I can't do it again. Oh, or maybe even your loved one is sick in Nigeria. You can't even gather. You're still in that financial crisis. You can't even gather money to buy tickets to go and see that person. Talk less of being like a financial help to the person's sickness. So that financial crisis that you're in is going to affect your homesickness, because you can't just blindly buy a ticket and just fly on because you want to go enter Mala, or you want to go and see the streets of Lagos, or eat roadside akara. So a lot of people get homesick and they feel like, oh, I'm so far away from family, I can't do this again. I need to go back to my country where I'm easily accessible to family, where I can get family love and all of that. Okay, I'm not doing it again, I'm going home. That's one reason why people. Another reason is Canada healthcare system is bad. It is terrible. Permit me to use the word terrible. And this is fact. Canada healthcare system is overwhelmed, as in like literally overwhelmed, because it's crazy. Pardon me, I've experienced it, so I know what I'm talking about. The emergency system in Canada is not emergency anything, because people are there waiting their turn to see a doctor 4-5 hours, bleeding, in so much pain, just because the healthcare system is overwhelmed. There's not enough staff to attend to the number of inflow of people coming into Canada. I believe that's a problem. So the government has a very wide and open range for immigration. I mean, in a year they can tell you that their budget to their quota to let people come in can be like 33,000 new immigrants. And the healthcare system is regulated here. I mean, you can't just bump into Canada as a doctor from Nigeria and expect to start doctoring in Canada. You have to go through like exams and whatnot. That's going to take probably 2 to 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know how long it takes, but I know it takes more than 2 years, yeah. So imagine 33,000 people come into the country every year, and now maybe there are like 30 million people in Canada, and the number of doctors that they had 5 years ago has only increased by 1%, but about 33,000 people are coming into Canada every year. So that's to say that there's shortage of staff in the healthcare system compared to the truth is there's shortage of demand and supply. Demand of healthcare system, then the supply is not meeting with the demand because a lot of people are not licensed to be doctoring and be nursing in Canada. So you go to the emergency room, you see the nurses up and about because a lot of people they need to attend to, they're overwhelmed. Well, they pay them pretty good well, but then again, it doesn't still justify the fact that the healthcare system is bad, literally bad. And interesting thing is, like for in Nigeria there is public hospital and there's private hospital, but in Canada it's not privatized. It's the general healthcare system is general. It's for the government provides everything. So it's not as if you can't, if you are a billion, you can't have 1 billion. If you have 1 billion, if you are like one of the richest, or you are wealthy, even if you have an emergency, you're gonna wait in line in that emergency room, wait 4 5 hours, compared to in Nigeria. If you cannot, of course, a lot of people will not even pick public hospital as first option. They rather go to private where they will pay their money and be attended to. So there's not even private system in Canada. So a lot of people just feel like, oh, I cannot get the immediate care. The care is detailed, the care is nice, but before you get the care, is something else. So people feel like, oh, I cannot get the care that I need for my kind of sickness, so I need to go back to my country where I know that I would pay to get health care as fast as I can. Very poor healthcare system in Canada. Very, 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 it's free, but it's pretty poor. Very poor. The government needs to do something about it, and that's one of the reasons why people feel like I cannot survive in a country that I have to wait 5 hours or 3 hours in the emergency room if I've been attended to. So that's another reason why people go back to their country. Another reason why people go back is high expectation. Like I mentioned previously, it's not a get quick system. This is a systemized system. Things go according to plan, and Canada is not a perfect place. In as much as it's one of the best places to live and work in the world, it's not a perfect place. It's a well-secured environment, but it is still not a perfect place. There are a lot of opportunities, but it's still not a perfect place. So people find it easy, and some people don't find it easy. So those people that don't find it easy might end up going back to their country because they just do not find it easy, and they feel like they'll have like a better support from their country, like family and friends around, compared to here that they probably don't know anybody. So that's one of the reasons why people go back to their country, because of their high expectation had to drop to below bar. Another reason why people go back to their country is because they come and collect citizenship. We all know that Canada has like the easy route into citizenship. So I would explain based on like a PR. So for a permanent resident, you have 5 years. You have 3 years in 5 years to qualify for citizenship. That means to say that if you get your PR today and you land in Canada today, and you don't step your foot outside of Canada, in 3 years you collect your blue passport and you become a Canadian citizen. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people come into Canada. I mean, everybody wants the second passport. Apart from living abroad, a lot of people want the second passport, and that's solely why they come into the country. And after that 3 years, if they do not step out at all and they get their passport, they're going back to where they're coming from. Or if for any reason they step out, you have 5 years. You have a range of 5 years to live in Canada for 3 years to be eligible for citizenship. So citizenship is another reason why people go back to where they are coming from, because I mean they've gotten what they want, so life goes on. So that's another reason. Another reason is Canada is expensive. I kid you not. Canada is expensive, and you really need to be prepared to live the expensive life in Canada. So that's why you have to prepare your body, soul, and spirit and mind into the kind of life that is lived here. The lifestyle is good, it's very livable, and it's very accommodating, and on and on and on, but it is very expensive, and people feel like, oh, I cannot cope with how expensive it is. Do you get? I mean, in Nigeria or wherever country they are coming from, they feel like, oh, I don't even, the amount of money I spend monthly, I don't even spend that money yearly where I'm coming from. So people might not be able to cope with how expensive Canada is, and within a short time, I mean, immigrants might not be able to cope with how expensive Canada is. So within a short time, they will go back to their country, even considering the fact that they were not even able to land that perfect job that they want on time. They feel like, oh, I can't do this again. I mean, let me go back to a country where I can easily pay my rent. Nobody is, do you get all those kind of things? So people will just pack their bags and baggages and go back to their country. But with all these points, I'm not trying to discourage you from coming into Canada. I'm just pointing out the obvious for you so that you know what you're getting yourself into, leaving your comfort zone and coming into Canada as a new immigrant. So I will tell you that Canada is beautiful, Canada is amazing, Canada is all the good things you have heard about Canada, but put in mind these few points of mine to let you know that in as much as it is amazing and all that, it's not a perfect place. There are struggles, there are challenges that you're going to face, but I will leave you to decide if it is worth it or not for you to come into Canada. So, is it worth it? After watching this video, do you think it is still worth it to come into Canada as a new immigrant, leaving everything you have worked for the number of years you have lived your life in your home country, and come in and start from humble beginnings? Let me know in the comment section what you think about this video, and let me know if you have any question for me and what you'd like to see next about my life living in Canada, and every information you need to know about Canada. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.